From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, July 20th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.27 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,239 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.7 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,497. Antiwar.com reports U.S. officials say that President Trump has decided to formally end the CIA program to arm Syrian rebel factions, a program that has been active for years and highly criticized for having seen a lot of the U.S.-provided arms end up in the hands of al-Qaeda and other extremists. This arms smuggling scheme had long-standing problems and was frozen earlier this year because the rebel factions the U.S. was supporting have been fighting one another increasingly and have been less and less interested in fighting either the Islamic State or the Syrian government. This move will not end the U.S. arming of the Kurdish YPG, as this scheme is wholly independent from the CIA program and is being run directly by the Pentagon. The factions getting arms from the CIA are mostly based in Idlib, with some smaller groups along the Jordanian border. President Trump has been seen as sour on the CIA program since before he took office, complaining that the U.S. did not have good enough intelligence on who the rebels are and should focus on fighting against the Islamic State. Still, it took quite a few months to finalize his decision. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Department of Justice announced plans on Wednesday to again begin seizing property and money suspected of being used illegally in crimes, including drug-related incidents. The move is a reinstatement of a policy that President Barack Obama's administration had dropped. Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced the new policy in which local officials rely on the feds to ease the process of seizing assets from criminal suspects. The policy allows law enforcement to take property without a crime ever having been committed, without the person being charged or convicted. Sessions said at a DOJ event where he was joined by state and local law enforcement officials and prosecutors, "We need to send a clear message that crime does not pay. With this new policy, the American people can be confident knowing that we are following the law and taking action to defund criminals and at the same time protecting the rights of law-abiding people." Sessions said the DOJ will not seize property unless the state involved provides information demonstrating that the seizure was justified from the beginning with probable cause. In addition, the directive said state and local law enforcement agencies must send individual property owners notice within 45 days of the seizure. Public officials and political observers across the political spectrum have opposed seizures, claiming the practice is inconsistent with the Constitution's requirement that guilt be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. 24 states have laws limiting or prohibiting the practice of civil asset forfeiture, but local law enforcement bypassed those restrictions by giving seized assets to the federal government instead of returning them to their owners. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports President Donald Trump took Senate Republicans to task on Wednesday for failing to reach agreement on overhauling the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act, commonly called Obamacare, as a new report claims 32 million Americans would lose health insurance if senators opt to repeal the law without a replacement. Trump gathered 49 Republican senators on Wednesday for a White House lunch after a bill to repeal and replace the 2010 Affordable Care Act collapsed on Monday after dissent from a handful of the party's conservatives and moderates. After Trump's exhortation, party members met on Capitol Hill with Vice President Mike Pence to try to come together on a major Republican campaign promise for the past 7 years, undoing former President Barack Obama's signature legislation. After taking a hands-off approach on the healthcare debate last week and suggesting on Tuesday that he was fine with letting Obamacare fail, Trump on Wednesday demanded senators stay in Washington through their planned August recess until they find common ground on a healthcare bill. Trump said at the meeting, "We can repeal, but we should repeal and replace. We shouldn't leave town until this is complete." This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.